No.
There we go. There we go.
Okay, so is this too loud for anybody?
It is a little bit
bit,
loud.
Okay,
Yeah.
Colleen, is that you?
Yeah.
Is that you? Is that you?
And there we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Harry, how about
I'm
you?
fine.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
Okay. And now, okay. Okay. Well, guess what? We're recording because that was just too freaking hilarious not to get on tape.
Yeah, it's amazing, this little button. It's like, oh, maybe we should just push it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Amazing.
yeah, I had the wrong colors. I'll own it. It was me. So, Colleen Bertino, happy post Labor Day weekend. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's like it's Labor Day already. Holy
Yeah.
crap.
I know. I know.
Time flies.
I feel like an old person now because I'm always like, where the hell did the time go?
It goes by really quick.
And I can't remember Jack. So the two things are spectacular.
Every day's a new day.
Exactly.
And I'm like, oh God.
And the booming voice that you hear in the room with Kelly Guest and Colleen Bertino today is Perry Laprie back. Hi, Perry.
Hello.
I guess the ragweeds, in your own words, kicking your ass?
Yes, a lot.
Okay. Okay. Well, Perry's our special guest. We've got definite events to talk about here, but all weekend long it was making me laugh because there was a lot of television being broadcast out of the West Coast where I'm from, and they're talking about the end of summer, and I'm like, shut up. It's freaking 85 and Christmas. I mean, that's how I didn't know what snow on Christmas was like when I was until I was 28. But end of summer. I mean, I always joke here that after the state fair, it's Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Herberger's, I think, has put up their Christmas displays.
you've got to be kidding me.
I have a friend that works part-time there, and she's been there for 10 years.
Okay, now
yeah.
that's just sick and wrong.
No. Now, mind you, it's just suggestions. You don't have to go out and buy it.
Oh, my God.
We don't do a lot of Christmassy stuff anymore because, I mean, it's just, you don't want to get, I mean, red lingerie, fine.
Right.
Christmas lingerie, not so much because you don't want to get stuck with it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's not really a lot of seasonal dildos, so you don't really have to worry about that.
Come jingle my
I
bells.
mean, we do have, for Crypticon, we're getting in a Frankenstein thing, dildo and that sort of stuff. There's, and there's the vampire fleshlight and a few things.
Yep.
But for the most part, sex is not seasonal. It just,
No.
That's a good point. You've never quite said it that way before.
yeah, you don't really have to worry about that too much. We're like, why are we busting our asses? Is it going to sell? Is it not going to sell? Like that. It doesn't need to have, just red.
The ho goes all year round.
Yeah, it
Right.
is. There's a couple of novelty things, but for the most part, no.
So, Colleen, before we jump into the show today, I just gotta. You were just telling me that you saw a lot of baseball over the weekend. Tell me, kind of set up what you were telling me about when we.
My sister and brother-in-law. First of all, I went to a great game on a Saturday in which the Twins won, which is not really good for them right now. It was spectacular.
Wait,
stuff
check
like
and
that.
see if hell's frozen. I'm checking. Okay.
And then several weeks ago, I noticed that they were having a special event up on the Budweiser roof deck. By the way, you don't have to drink Bud. There's more other beer up there, which is the first thing I discovered because I don't drink
Not
Bud.
your fave?
No, not my fave. And it was a fundraiser. Eduardo Escobar's Venezuelan, and everybody knows that things are not well in Venezuela right now. So he has a charity, a foundation, a charity he's raising money for. So I'm like, well, I've never seen the Budweiser roof deck. Most of this ticket price was going to go to the charity, and then it was going to be Eduardo and Friends, which made me think of Disney, which was hysterical.
Right.
So we go to the game, and they lose spectacular fashion. But Dozier has 3 home runs, so that was pretty cool.
Right.
But afterwards, what was really amazing was not only, Eduardo came up, everybody got a signed baseball. The team just got their asses handed to them. Okay. But Eduardo came up, several of the Royals came up, Suzuki came up, Brian Buxton came up, Kyle Gibson, a few other folks I don't recognize because they're, some of the younger players, probably the pitchers. But then, Tony Oliva comes up and Joe Mauer and Brian Dozier.
That's amazing.
They didn't, it's one of the things I think I really like about baseball is that they, like I said, they got their butts handed to them, but they were a total class act when they came up. They were gracious to everyone. It was all, it was low key. They didn't really have any handlers. They're up there. I mean, there was already, everyone had a baseball. So, I mean, everyone's signing. I mean, a friend of mine who's from Great Britain, I met a lot of these folks before I used to advertise on radio. So I got to meet some folks. And so I was just watching the crowd, which was fascinating. But my friend was like, she went and got her picture with Brian. She went and got her picture with Joe. She's getting the baseball sign. She's having a grand old time, and everyone was just pleasant. I mean, it was just a class act, all those guys, and it was just fun to watch. And then a lot of them had their families with them, so of course they were like little babies. And so I'm like, oh, there's the baby, and so
pinching babies.
I was like, oh, and then one of the pictures, toddlers was running around, and just he kept having to go grab them. It was just
well, okay. Since you brought up the twin story, I have to dust off a Tony Oliva story for you quick too, and in true Great Northern Sexcast fashion, of course, because it involves Tony Oliva's penis. So for many years I was on the K-Fan morning show when the superstar Mike Morris was the lead, and I was the news dominatrix, and he and Chris Hockey, who's still on that show. Love Chris. He's a hilarious, good guy. They were, I can't remember where they were. I guess at some event at a health club, whatever, but they were in a locker room into which Tony Oliva walked in with a towel, and they saw him shed his towel to go get dressed. And they both, to this day, if you ever ask them about Tony Oliva naked, they both just go, holy mother of God, the guy is hung like a fucking horse. I mean, I guess they're like, swinging a bat is no joke with this guy. I guess he's just a horse.
Oh my! Well, he's also he certainly doesn't have an ego to go with that, because it was a wonderfully demonstrated, and he still has a really strong grip. His handshake was amazing.
How old is he now?
I don't. We looked it up. I can't remember now, but he's late 70s or something like that. And it was just like, he was still he was gonna crush your hand.
And they said the same thing, that he was just a prince of a guy. With the biggest schlong they'd ever seen. Which is funny to see two straight guys talking about.
Right.
And just in utter reverence. Like they didn't joke, they didn't even, they're like, yeah, that dude's big.
No, he came up, and the younger guys came up first, and then Tony came up, and then Joe and Brian came up later, because let the other guys have let Eduardo have his moment and all that. And they just everyone was like, the younger folks are like, oh, there's Joe and all this stuff, and then suddenly you look over and you see some of the parents and go, oh my God, it's Tony, and they're like, ooh. They're going over there to shake his hand and get their baseball sign. And we just because I was standing up on some of the bleachers over there, you could just watch people, and then as folks would come up, their eyes would get wide, and everyone was so happy, and it was about 45 minutes, and a lot of times you pay to get this stuff.
Right.
I mean, of you did. I mean, believe me, for all the signatures and how gracious everyone was. I know I've been to Twins Fest, I've done that. I know that you can pay an awful lot to do that. I mean, selfies, the whole deal. I mean, it was really cute.
Good for you. What a great weekend story. Perry, did you have a good weekend?
I stayed inside all weekend. My allergies been kicking my ass.
Well, that must be some planning.
Actually, Keith and I went to Thursday. We went over to the state fair. So hence spent the day over there. So
how are the llamas?
Oh, the llamas!
We didn't see the llamas. No, we didn't see any llamas.
There early. Well, no. Thursday morning there was open llama competition, but none of them were in costumes.
Because we didn't go through the barn and go see all that. We saw the birthing center.
That's fun.
Have you? I've been there. I didn't even bother going this year. I never see anything being born. No, nothing. No.
I haven't seen.
I mean, rumor you see happened 10 minutes ago, where they're saying no.
Have you been cheesed, Colleen?
It's like driving through the mountains and seeing this, mountain goat, crossing, or this. Or up in northern Minnesota, you see moose crossing. There's no moose.
No. You can sit there all day, you'll never see them.
But it totally cracks me up. No, State Fair Day was good. It kicked my ass.
Really?
Because I was there for many hours and a lot of walking. And the fascinating part was. One, I got interviewed twice.
Oh, you did?
One of them I was just laughing through, but there was the rooster crowing contest, and we're like, what the hell is that? So the rule is, if we go, what the hell is that? We have to go see what it is.
Good rule. I like
it. What it is they put 8 roosters in these cages, and they get 8 volunteers from the audience to sit behind them with whiteboards, and then you sit there for 30 minutes and you count the roosters crowing. But you can't do it. And we're like, it was funny for like 10 minutes.
Right.
And then, but the best part, rooster number 5 was doing really good. And the best part was the woman behind it. At one point, like after like the 5th crow and like, we were there for 10 minutes, she just leans in and goes, "Oh, I love you." We were just dying. But there was a northern Minnesota radio station there and they have like a loon calling contest. So they thought it was like humans doing rooster calls. So they were practicing thinking they would get into it. Then they realized it was this. And so they shoved their microphones in our faces and we're like, well, me and my guy were like, yeah, we're not shy with the microphone. We're like, we don't know what the hell it is. That's why we're here.
And were they goading the roosters to crow?
Some of them were like, come on. But they wasn't like, they weren't touching him or shaking him or anything. They were just trying to sweet talk him into crowing. And it was just
How'd that
funny.
work?
Not too well. And then later on during the llama contest, there weren't that many. I think the guy was trying to stretch the show out. It was a new MC, and he goes into the audience and he stuffs the stuffs the microphone to my group of friends. And we've been joking for years that we could judge it now because we know what's going on. And so they, starts giving like this really reasonable like response, but to me it was just funny because we'd just been talking about it. So I ended up having to grab my inhaler and everything. I was gasping for breath.
God.
There was one of those things when there's tears.
Yes.
It's funny. You don't know why it's funny. You don't care. You've just completely lost it. My friend
That's
is
a good day.
Yeah, my
Yes.
friend is live Facebooking this whole thing for the friends who can't make it to the llamas. So I'm out there in the universe dying with tears running down my face, sucking on my inhaler. Perfect. And I'm like, oh good, this is out there forever, but what the hell?
Fantastic.
But it was, all in all, a good, it's just like a really good, if it was going to be the end of summer, it ended well,
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
speaking of things going on. Now, Perry, really quick, remind our audience, you're now a friend of the show and you're going to be coming back periodically because we love you. We think you're hilarious. Tell everybody kind of what you do quick so we can set this up.
Oh, God. I am the facilitator for Camp Hardwood, and we have a couple different charity events each year. Our last one was Kinky Camp, which we raised, actually, if I don't know, it's about $500 we raised for Youth Link's Seville Scholarship Fund.
Okay, cool.
And so this next event, which is Men on the Loose, which is coming up this weekend, we're not charging for food and everything. We have donated food, which what we're going to do is $5 per person donation, and all that money is going to go to the Seville Fund as well.
Okay.
Friday night we're having spaghetti and meatballs. We only have about 8 gallons of spaghetti and meatballs.
Only.
Okay.
Mm.
Plus we got the salad and French bread and everything else, and then. Saturday morning, we're having a pancake breakfast, which we're teaming up with the Bistro, which at Two Creeks Campground, which is called the City, which is where a lot of the permanent campers are at. There's one couple that they have at nighttime, they usually do a grilled cheese or hot dogs or whatever. Well, they call it their Bistro. So Saturday morning, we're teaming up with them of having hash brown, farm fresh eggs, and we're also we're donating the pancakes. So we're going to have a donation of the pancake breakfast.
Okay, back up just 1 second. Men on the Loose don't just drive somewhere to eat all weekend.
No.
Set it up a little bit more before you go into the details, because there's a lot of people listening going, I don't know what he's talking about. Tell us what Men on the Loose is.
All right, Men on the Loose, we have our events at Two Creeks Campground up near Sandstone. It's actually in Duxbury. It's just like 18 miles east of Sandstone. Mm-hmm. So with our events, there's 2 different portions of the campground. There's the south side, which they call the City. Mm-hmm. This is where like all the permanent campers are. And then there's the north side where the event center is and where we have all of our events at. There's a lot of areas for tent camping, RV camping with full hookups as far as electric, water, sewer.
Well, that's kind of amusing under the circumstances. Full hookups.
Well, there's a lot of full hookups over there.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry.
Also, over there in the back of the event center, we have our play area, which we have. When you first walk in the side door, we have our porn theater going all the time. Then we have our glory holes. We have a fucking bench. We have a fucking lounger. We have a St. Andrew's cross.
Is that like a Barca lounger, only a fucking lounger?
Exactly.
Excellent. I love that. Perfect.
Well, you can bark on it too if you want.
Okay. I'm sure some do.
Oh, yes. We have St. Andrew's Cross, medical exam tables, sling, and hopefully next year we're going to have a new toy coming in. So,
But TBD.
Exactly.
So, okay. So a lot of camps take place for what general audience would you say?
This is only for 19 and up.
Okay.
So if you have children, you can't bring your children in. This is only for adults only. It's clothing optional.
Okay. And the normal target group that comes is...
Oh, it's all over from anywhere from 19. We've even had guys that almost.
But it's mostly men, is what I'm trying to get
men.
you to say.
Oh, okay.
Help me out, Perry.
What's men on the loose? Come on, hello.
I'm throwing you softballs right and left, and you're not picking them up.
Well, it's like the last time I was here. It's like I totally brain farted this whole weekend off, and it's like, really? It wasn't until after I left here. It's like she prompted me, and I'm too.
It's okay.
It's my allergies. It's my allergies.
And yet we invited you back, so it's fine. No,
well, I wanted to because last time we couldn't work it out before the event, and it just sounded like so much fun because you got kinky camp, and it's just a place where folks can go and explore in a really safe environment, and that's what you don't get in a lot of
No, you don't.
And when we realized there was still a couple events, we're like, well, we got to come back. So we get, because we're going to. We're going to, work with them, but we're getting towards the end of the season.
Yes.
But we still had this one going on, and I'm just like, men on the loose. I said, that sounds like in the woods, guys running around. Yes. I hope it doesn't get too Lord of the Flies.
Exactly.
But you just can't really put that many. I mean, it's something about a campground, I think, just sort of sheds a lot more inhibitions when you're away from home.
It does.
I mean, versus like, there are hotels you can rent that are perfectly fine with this, but I guess the camping just is different too.
Actually, it's becoming more and more of a thing that, there's a lot of naturalist camping where they have families going, but these campgrounds where we go to are basically strictly for adults, and sex is allowed.
Yeah, I mean, not everything has to. The whole world has to be family friendly. Forget that crap.
No.
It drives me insane.
Epic fail, Las Vegas. Epic fail.
Yeah,
I mean, that probably ranks up there as one of the largest, stupidest rebrandings that has ever existed in the history of the world. That you would bring your children to Las Vegas.
No.
Yeah, so it's the whole weekend, like from Friday to
it starts
Sunday.
on Thursday.
Starts on Thursday.
Thursday,
okay.
the 8th, and going to the 11th on Sunday.
Okay, so how much does the weekend cost? I mean, you talked about some great.
It's $40 per night.
Okay.
So it basically covers your basic camping, and then the little extra goes basically with our advertising and everything else we got for the weekend.
Okay, $40 a person.
$40 per person.
Okay, so how do people find full-on details about the event, and where can they...
You can go to camphardwood.com.
Okay.
And on our site, you'll see underneath the events, as far as for Men on the Loose, and it'll give you all the details on it, even give you a place to go register to. You can see what's happening the weekend. We have different things going on, like generally on Saturday, we'll have different games as far as volleyball, dildo baseball.
Dildo baseball.
Oh, that's a lot of fun.
I'm afraid to ask what that entails.
Well, it's a little over 3-foot rubber dildo. It's a double-headed dildo that we use for the bat.
Perfect.
Well, you have to watch out how you swing it, because I've already seen a guy swing it all the way around. It wrapped him right in the face and knocked him out.
Knocked him out?
Knocked him out.
That's outstanding.
Home run.
Oh, my God. You can't make that shit up.
No, these things are huge, and they're heavy. And the most historical is long before 9/11, and everything, bags and everything got checked and all this sort of stuff, and everyone's doing that. I traveled down in New Orleans. My brother was going to school there. My friends were going down there, and he belonged to a fraternity, and he asked me to bring a whole bunch of stuff down. One of them was like a couple of the really large dildos, because they were coming up to award season.
Okay.
And they were all, so they're going to get, and so I am traveling down to New Orleans, and in my carry-on bag, because the check bag was free and all that stuff, is a large double-headed dildo and another one that was just, big based one that was at least 24 inches with, very solid, and they weighed a ton. And it goes through the x-ray, but no one's
No one said anything?
I was just waiting for someone to say something. Not a word. I don't think they wanted to. And I'm traveling with my friend. And so the two of us are going through the two women. We have these massive dildos. Carry on luggage. So I'm like, no. Well, please. I don't care. I was like 20 at the time. What do I give a crap? 21. Yeah.
What ball? What do you guys use for a ball?
We actually have, it's a foam ball. So,
Okay.
So, you don't need gloves.
Okay. Okay.
So it's easy to catch.
And I was thinking a wiffle ball would be just very problematic. So you have something of substance that you hit it with, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like a Nerf ball.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's easy to catch. It
Well,
doesn't hurt the hands. It doesn't hurt wherever it hits.
And you never know.
Yeah.
Do you not want to get smacked? Yeah, I've been. Wiffle ball is. You think that it's going to be a pleasant. No, you get smacked with that. No, that's not good.
No.
Plus, I don't think they're. I don't like the aerodynamics.
No.
They're unpredictable.
Very unpredictable.
I want something that if I hit it, that I'm relatively certain it's going to go the direction in which I hit it.
Yeah.
Wiffle balls, not so much.
No.
And with the dildo, that'd be just like.
Yeah, I mean, it's
so frustrating.
It's fairly solid, but it still wobbles a bit.
It wobbles quite a bit because it's completely flexible. And it's kind of funny because with a
Kind
normal,
of funny, Harry. This has got to be a laugh fucking riot to watch.
Oh, it is, and it's like because when you swing that thing, with a normal baseball bat, that's stiff. Well, this is not stiff. It's
No.
It's not like you got a.
Oh, it's going to be frustrating for the guys that actually play softball on a regular basis. Like, what's going on here?
Welcome to your 60s. No, I'm kidding.
No, well, I'm giggling over that.
It's kind of funny because when you watch them swing the thing. Normal baseball bat, you'd be right over here, and the ball, you can hit the ball. Well, that thing is so flexible because by the time you get it around, you're already missing it. And
so you have to figure the flop.
The learning curve,
The
learning curve on this got to be hilarious. Do you have an extra batting practice, or you just throw the newbies out there? Because
it's like, here, practice. And it's like, all I'm looking at you, it's like, really? No, it's like... They're going, well, we know how to play baseball. Well, hello, but you're playing with a dildo.
Okay.
A flexible dildo. A 3-foot flexible dildo.
Yeah.
This is not your normal bat.
Oh,
it's not going to work like you think it's going to. And all these guys are going, and after, I think the one game that we played, these guys that used to be on a baseball team, I said, we're not playing with that thing again.
That just sounds great.
They got across their egos were hurt. They couldn't hit the ball with the dildo. So, but I can see that, because it's just different.
Pray tell, what else will you be playing?
Bocce ball. We might even, as soon as I have all the stuff from when we used to do the sex games, I might bring out the drag race as well.
What's the drag? Okay. Tell us what that is.
All right, what we have is a bunch of women's garments, and so you're dressing from head to toe as far as in women's stuff.
Okay.
So you start out naked, and so you have one pile where you have to start out and grab the granny panties.
So you have like stations?
We have stations,
Nice.
and each
so you
item
have to
has
run
a number.
from it. Yeah,
so
run
and each person has a certain number. They have to pick that number.
Okay, so you can't just randomly
you can't grab any pair.
No, you can't. You have to grab your number. So you don't know what kind of outfit you're going to have. You could start out wearing granny panties, and in the end of it, having some, fancy gown on,
God.
or end up like grandma and with a full robe and the wig and the curlers, and yet have high heel boots on.
Oh, that's fabulous.
No,
did you think this up?
No.
We've been doing this for quite a while. Yeah.
I'm like,
God.
I could think of a lot of things, but I'm like, I feel jealous that I've never thought about a drag race in this way.
Right?
We got the wigs, we got the hat, we got the aprons, we got the dresses, the bras, the panties, the nylons, the shoes. We even have overcoats, and scarves, everything. You have to pick up the whole entire
outfit and run around. Oh my God. I'd probably have to take out my inhaler again. I'd be laughing so damn hard.
Harry may need to borrow it the rate he's going.
I didn't bring mine, but I brought my allergy medication just in case.
You think with the amount of rain that we had this morning, someone would be down, but once it goes, it's just so damp out.
Oh,
yeah, we were making. I pulled into the office today because we're near a marshy area and there's a drain, and I'm like, do drive over. Okay, dumpster is not floating.
That's a good thing.
I pulled in a couple of summers ago when we had that really big rain in June, and I saw like these big blobs of mulch. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, oh my, that's the mulch from the back of the office, which is 200 feet that way. I'm like, holy shit. and then I looked around and I, pulled around and the drain was going, there was still a pretty big puddle. And then I looked around and I went, where are my dumpsters? And then I looked around and they had floated. I mean, I've never seen one. I mean, these are heavy dumpsters, no wheels, floated to the neighbors to go visit their dumpsters. And of course the water went down, so I had to call a company to come.
The other dumpsters. That's adorable.
But I'm like, oh my God. No, I've been out there, the joys of business ownership, with a metal rake in a lightning storm, unclogging a drain so that I do not have cars getting inundated and stuff, water coming. And it's like, holy shit. I'm like, what the hell am I doing out here?
Colleen, you are a trooper.
And I'm like, that's what it's my building.
Yeah.
It's my,
the Joseph business.
Yeah, it's my building. I don't get to call a landlord on this one.
No. Yeah. Okay, Perry, here's the deal. I'm not going to let you tell me about any more events because I don't think you can do any better than Dildo Baseball and the drag race. So here's the promise that you have to make to the audience right now.
Okay.
You're going to come back in a month.
Okay.
And you're gonna bring stories and photographic.
Oh, I can do that.
Okay. I know you can. That's why you're going to become a regular.
Well, did you go on Camp Hardwood and look at the pictures from Kinky Camp?
I did peruse a little bit. I'm like, oh my God, thank God. When you have like not suitable for work photos in most places, see, that doesn't work for me. There isn't anything that isn't suitable. So I was poking around going, that looks like fun.
Yes, a lot of guys had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, you're not seeing a lot. It's not all that particularly identifiable or this or that. But there's just, it sounds funny. There's a joy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to sound like some sort of hippie chick here, but I'm like,
they look happy.
It just looks I'm like, that's just a crap ton of fun.
Yeah. Well, it's, with what we're doing, we're changing out the lighting in the play space because we got blue and red lighting, and it just doesn't work. So we're putting all red lighting in, and because the red is a little more, I don't know, horny color.
Oh yeah, it's exciting. I mean, that's one of the reasons Target has everything red.
Yeah,
red makes you excited. Red
it makes you excited to get things.
Woo! Let's go shopping.
Just a weird question. Not really a weird question. Everything's par for the course here. But in the playroom, do you have the option of partitioning yourselves off, or is everybody kind of on display for everybody else to watch what they're doing there?
Oh, everyone's on display.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you want something private, at Two Creeks, there are a couple different, they call them oases, which there's one at the far side of the dog park, which is on the north side, which is open 24 hours a day. There's a picnic table in there, so you can go in there and fuck all you want. And if you want to be alone, you can lock the door.
Or you can go to your tent.
Or you can go to your tent, your camper, whichever.
But the playroom is for everybody to watch, and that's...
Yeah. That's a lot of fun.
Well, okay, you just started to say participate. So, see,
the only time that you can really participate is if you ask first. So if something's going on, don't just jump in there. You ask first because there's like a lot of different scenes. If there's someone on the cross and someone's flogging them, don't just jump in there and think that you can just do whatever. That's not the case. No, it's consent. Because if you're not going to ask first, then you don't need to be there. You can watch. There's a lot of people who just like to sit and watch everything that's going on, which is cool.
Yeah.
But
and I'm sure that people like to be watched.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
I don't think you'd be there if you didn't.
Right.
I mean, this is not a place. Well, I mean, I'm not saying wouldn't be a place for introverts. You would just limit your time in public, and then you go out and recharge.
Exactly.
What folks do.
Exactly. It seems there's a lot of people that like to. It's more of. They like to watch, and then they want to learn. And after something's all done and over with, they'll ask different questions about it, and then say, "All right, can I be next?"
Okay,
which is oftentimes happened.
Awesome. Consent's a major theme here on the Great Northern Sexcast. We talk about it often. Okay, guys, we got to do some news. Perry, you're so much fun. We're halfway through the show, and we haven't even gotten any of the business yet. This is, I think, one of the cutest most amusing stories I've seen in a little while. Okay. This darling girl in Oregon is getting her senior picture taken. Okay. And I mean, I'm sorry, but they're all pretty bad. I'm leaning against the tree. I'm looking cute by the sunset.
Not looking forward to having to choose. I mean, I think I have an idea of what a photographer I want for my daughter in a few years, but I'm like, there will be no tree hugging or leaning or the leaning on a bridge and looking out. I saw it at the Arboretum once, and I'm like, no, that will not happen. We are city folk. I'm not sticking my child in the freaking wilderness and taking a picture like this is part of her life.
Well, and there's also the aspect of, it's like, let's try to figure out a shot that nobody else has done picture. And those are stupid too. It's like, oh, look, I'm hugging an alligator because I don't know. I mean, it's like, but this girl, she's in Oregon, in South Eugene High School, and she was out there in the Willamette River, which is and the pictures are kind of pretty. She's wearing a dress and she's standing in the river. Kind of fun because that's something that she would do apparently. Mm-hmm. But what's hysterical is in the shot, a naked guy was walking his dog. Best photo bomb ever.
I know. And how do you not notice
Well,
this?
The photographer was looking at her.
Yeah.
And then her friend was there at the shot and she was taking, she's like, oh my God, that dude is naked walking his dog. And they didn't get creeped out by it. And it wasn't a flasher situation. No. I mean, it was off in the distance completely. He is yet to be unidentified. Mm-hmm. But she's like, I have the best senior pictures ever. And, it's unclear if the school yearbook will publish it. Har. Not going to happen.
So they just looked and said, okay, this is hilarious. Let's take the photo. Yeah. And they went for it. And obviously the parents are like not freaked out. Well, it's Oregon. If you're outside in the river, you're probably not the most uptight person.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Knowing me, if that was my kid, I'd make sure that their graduation pictures up on the wall.
Outstanding. But yeah, and the actual the edited and unedited versions are in the link that Mistress Megan will put up on the Great Northern Sexcast Facebook page to be seen. But the girl's adorable, and she's it's a cute picture and it's really beautiful. And the naked guy walking the dog, it's just fantastic. Guinness Book. Everybody, do you guys ever pay attention to that stuff?
When I was younger, which I remember, we would always, like in elementary school, it was one of the things that you flip through, but I don't think I really pay attention because now it just gets like weird, like the most like cappuccinos you can drink in an hour. I don't know. I mean, I just don't understand some of this stuff. No, why this is a record or why it would be or something, but I don't know. I find it confusing.
Longest tongue. Girl from Ocala, Florida is looking to unseat the world's longest tongue. And she didn't even think she had a talent until her friends said, they wanted me to show them if, they said, hey, you've got kind of a long tongue. And they said, hey, can you lick your eye? And she tried it and it was like absolutely no problem. And then they said, well, let's see if we can do my ear. And she did, no problem. And so before she went to get measured, she said she was stretching her tongue for like a week. Gentlemen of the world, just imagine whatever you want. But the pictures of this, I can't pronounce her name, Gurkari Bracco Blaquette. But she is, so this I can sort of understand because it's not, I mean, they always have like the tallest person and the shortest person. That's sort of record. She couldn't do anything about this,
right?
So I can sort of go with if you want to have. I mean, I'm sure there's probably someone that has like the longest big toe,
right?
It just is. Mm-hmm. But I don't, like the hot dog eating and some of the others or the high. I'm just like, or the guy that decided he had to go up in the balloon and do the biggest, like the tallest, These are like death-defying things that I'm like,
no,
not for me. No, I can deal with the biggest tongue. That's pretty cool.
And she's hilarious. If you look at these pictures, you're like, does that thing go back into her mouth? Like, does it fit in there? It's amazing.
Yeah, that's somebody be fascinating that she wouldn't like trip over. I would literally trip over her tongue.
How many times has she bitten it?
Yeah,
it doesn't say, but that is an outstanding question. Perry. Outstanding. K-cups, coffee. There's some behind you, Colleen, right? Mm-hmm. Q-cup. That would be a bra size. Think about that. Just let that sink in for a minute. Q. Mm-hmm. Q. Okay.
Okay.
This is a chick, former showgirl and model. She's now a professional psychic, and she credits her breasts for the career change. She's had more than 100 operations to get to this size, and
Okay, so this is not.
No.
This is not. No. Okay. I was looking. Maybe because I'm pretty sure if it was natural, you would have had their surgery
reduction.
had a reduction. I know plenty of folks that have done that.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Well, Lacey Wild, spelled WIDLDD. I'm sure that's not a real name, but she says everything happens for a reason, and I know. Here's the quote: "I was supposed to have huge boobs to help the world."
Good on her. If she, honestly though, there's a lot of really awful things that she could be doing.
Yeah, right.
So if she wants to make really large boobs and pretend she can read people, understand things, honestly, and unless she's ripping people off. Now, if she's ripping people off, then I got a problem with that. But
She claims that she can channel and speak to the dead, and passes the messages on. But she did tell one woman she had to go get a mammogram, and she had breast cancer. And she later learned that the woman credits her for saving her life. So God bless Lacey Wild, but yeah, okay.
no, pretty much all women should be getting mammograms.
Right.
Not every. It doesn't have to be every year anymore. This is what I understand. But I know several people. The one person had a bad mammogram, and then someone else went, and they ended up having a problem. And then 15 other women, we were hassling everyone, get your boobs checked.
Right.
And out of all the women, another woman did have a problem, and it was just they found out. But I'm pretty sure that had nothing to do with any psychic ability. Maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Hickey of death. The Hickey of death. Apparently, a Mexico City 17-year-old guy who was dating a 24-year-old, that's another subject entirely. She gave him a hickey, and doctors linked that to a stroke that killed him. That she sucked so hard on his neck that it pulled a blood clot that caused a seizure, that caused a stroke, and he's now dead. And just as I was thinking, that's
appalling.
It's awful. But listen,
like,
there's precedent. The New Zealand Medical Journal wrote that they have seen this before.
Really?
Yeah, I know. So I'm just saying the hickey thing.
Okay, so keep the hickeys away from the carotid artery. Is this what
there's that.
Do we need to have some sort of chart of where a hickey is appropriate?
I think that, no, it's not the where. I think it's the suction level that we really need to be talking
Suction
about
level.
here.
Okay.
People, like, how hard do you really need to suck to make this thing effective? Okay.
My ex used to suck, and not in the hickey aspect
Yeah.
as well.
All of our exes
that's
suck
true.
in some way. I mean,
But
or they
it's
wouldn't be what they are.
And it's like, I used to have purple marks all over my neck. It's like, no. It's like,
Yeah, I don't understand.
that's why the ball gate came in.
Yeah, I don't understand really. It seems like marking of territory. It's a little creepy to me. I don't
Yeah.
understand it. Obviously, you're not doing it right. You really shouldn't. A hickey is not. Some people, what was the movie where they called it like a love apple or love bite? No. I think it's just poor form.
Exactly.
Sloppy.
But I can't imagine there are too many people out there that haven't even given or received one. So,
Yeah, but you
rite of
kind-
passage. But you would think by the time you're 24, she
You're
would have known
over it.
better.
You're
You should be
over
over
it.
it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, upsetting thing out of Britain. I'm sorry, I will get it to there's no naked people in Florida this week. I'm sorry to report.
Well, they were
I
in
wonder
Oregon.
why.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, the hurricanes will do that.
Okay. So, yeah, right. They've been busy.
They've been busy. They've been busy
battening down
on the
hatches.
hatches. Yes.
Oh my
and
God.
obviously not. The one thing they won't do in the nude is get ready for a hurricane. Obviously,
But they're all inside getting blown.
well, yeah, there could be.
That's a good point. So, okay, there's so many weird aspects to this particular story. These foster parents in England took on a child that they knew was going to die. Okay. And, there's nobility in that. And they got very, very, very attached to this kid. And this is where the weirdness starts. They set up a sensory room. And it's where it had things that she had touched and clothes that still smelled like her. And so after she died, they could go in and still experience her. Okay. Yeah.
I know. I mean, usually it's, folks have kept a blanket or something, but I don't know, in an entire room. I mean, it does help,
I put the hat that my dad wore during chemo in a baggie and sealed it for that same reason, you know?
Right.
So,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I have,
An item,
I have my hat that my dad used to wear. It sits on a lamp in my office, and it just, I mean, I don't think I've ever sniffed it, but I do have the, you know,
Right.
the article of clothing.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, going
no,
through there.
I just wanted to try to keep them in the bag. I mean, it's weird. So I get that. Okay, but this is weird. Okay. But then one of the nurses that they hired to come do in-home care with her, they have closed circuit TV in their house. And after she died, they turned on the cams, and she was in their house having sex in this room on the kids' clothes. And there's a lawsuit saying that they had to wash and bleach it, and now they can't smell their kid. How do you suppose the court's going to rule on that?
Oh, well,
Right?
I have no idea because I'm not exactly, I mean, I suppose there's stuff. Do they have emotional distress rules and lots of stuff like that? But I mean, that's just that's sort of creepy. It's sort of creepy that the nurse that someone would want to have sex in this room.
Right.
That is everything about this is a little.
The whole thing is fucked up. I'm just saying that's why I put it in here.
But I'm just wondering.
Okay.
I mean, you just think about how is that even remotely? You know, like I want to have sex there.
I know. Colleen has now got her head in hand. She's just trying to get herself together. Okay, here's a story that our recurring blogger guest Brie Lopez Donovan sent to Mistress Megan.
Okay.
That made it in today's show, which affects me. Okay, this is about tiny houses.
Okay.
I have, for those of you, the regular audience know that I did a 15-month tiny house experiment with my boyfriend and our 2 pit bulls and our cat.
Cool.
And it wasn't quite as small as the TV, 600 square feet, but come on, seriously, when you're used to a hell of a lot more. So we did that for 15 months, and that's going to be returning to just be our little lake place now, and we're taking back my house in Hastings. But I know what it's like to be like piled in and have to really pare down. Well, Bree finds this story that says you can't have sex if you've got a tiny house. You guys, this article is hysterical because these things are miraculous, and the way that they pack things in and the way we did or whatever. But we at least had a regular bedroom. These have lofts and crazy. You can't even thrust or even do missionary sex in these little fucking sleeping cubbies that they have. The pictures are hilarious, and the writer that wrote this is an absolute terror. She's so funny. So you got to read the article, but they show all these. It's like, how do you fucking this? I dare you. Come on.
I've seen some of the small houses. I've seen that show.
Yeah.
I'm going through there, and especially the folks that do. I mean, maybe the folks that do it with kids don't want to fuck anymore. They might be,
and they want to be reminded why constantly.
It is birth control of some sort. But I can't imagine. At the state fair, they had a mobile granny pod. Actually, some of the cities have legislated against it now, but it's a mobile home that you can move into your backyard, hookups, all that sort of stuff. So you can have a parent or a relative, it doesn't have to be a parent, near you. But, it certainly would be less expensive than assisted living. But if you didn't have room in your house to build an addition on. And I walked in and I'm like, well, 1, where do you watch TV? And 2, I'm like, there's nothing in this looks comfortable. So I think they've got to rearrange a little bit because what if grandma or grandpa wants a friend? I didn't see any room in that. And so I went, and I'm like, and this was, I think this was, it's a tiny house thing, but I have to admit, I walked through this thing and said, where would you do it? I thought
so. It occurred to you.
It occurred to me, where would you do it here?
That's
the
awesome.
table.
Yeah. There was nothing. I mean, I was like, everything was very narrow.
Yeah.
I don't,
you have to make a bench outside and do it out there.
Yeah. Out there, yeah.
It's funny. I mean, I watched 4 episodes of Tiny House Hunting just last night, in fact. And it's funny the different people, the reasons or whatever. And one person was a divorced, retired lady who, whatever. But the line that just cracked me up so bad about this author, and you got to read the story. She goes, I'm not against living in tiny houses, but lots of people feel too entitled to too much space on the planet. But there's something about the consciousness of this that irks me because all of these people living in trailers seem like they would judge people who live in trailers. So no, it's just, yeah, but no, it's actually a really good point. And paring down is an interesting experiment, but I'm not ever going to sit there and say oh, get rid of all of your stuff. It's liberating. No, I can't wait to get my shit back. I am so excited. It's all coming out of storage tomorrow. I can't wait.
No, I purposely bought a smaller house because I would rather do things like, excuse me, like travel and do it and have experiences versus the stuff. Right. Because if you have all these extra rooms, you need to put curtains in all those rooms.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you end up just putting shit in them because you don't know what to do. I mean, I have to clear out my office every now and then because it's like we have, the fixtures come back or company send something. And I'm like, we haven't used this in 3 years. Into the dumpster it goes.
Right.
Just get rid of it. And it just feels better. But I still like my stuff. I mean, I have like 3 sets of china. I only use one of them. So, I mean, I used to work in the China department. So it worked out. My, parents had a place near Lenox in New Jersey. So you get the BOGOs and the ones that have the little tiny nicks on it. No one can see the flaw.
Right.
And I'm like, I'll buy it. I don't care. It just not, I do not believe in perfection.
No.
It just doesn't work. It's just no such thing.
So here's one, guys. And I know Colleen is not married, but in a long-term committed relationship. You are the same, right? Right, Perry? Me too. 7 years we're coming up on this month, and we plan to get married, but this was a weird forum, and we'll throw the link to it. But I wanted to see what the room said. So our sex life is awful. Should I marry him? Let me just put this in here really quick. I'm due to marry the most amazing man in 3 weeks. We're best friends. He's perfect in every way except one. Our sex life is awful. It has been for about a year. I have to practically beg him to have sex with me, and he shows no interest in me sexually at all. It used to be a great sex life, but we both went through a lot of tough times, and now we're struggling to get back, and he doesn't understand why this is important. Any advice for the girl?
Run away now.
Carrie?
Actually, I think in due time, spruce things up. And, try what you can. If you want to stay with them, try whatever. It's a matter of time and, learning to figure out where the person's triggers are to get them going again might help.
Yeah. I mean, but you think you have faith that it can come back?
Oh, yeah.
If they work at it, though.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound, in there, excuse me, no. But it sounds like that if he doesn't think there's anything wrong, that's a problem. If they were communicating and they were saying, if they were going to talk it out or doing something, but if he thinks it's fine that way, no, I'm not, okay, maybe I should make the answer no marriage until you figure it out.
Right.
That's a good, I like that. That's
versus a complete runaway, but I would not commit to something because if you think that this thing is important, and I don't care what it is, and the other person does not think it's important, you got a problem there.
Right.
And I don't care what, some people like, it might be different money or it might be a different way of, deciding how you're going to, discipline your kids. I don't care what it is, but if you think, if they are diametrically opposed there, or if, one person doesn't care, I think that it may not be a relationship breaker, but I think it's a put off the wedding breaker.
I think that's I like that. But I thought I'd throw it out there to get everybody thinking, and we'll post the link. Yeah. And there's a huge forum out there, but and it would be fun to have a discussion about it on our Facebook page as well. So it's the Great Northern Sex Cast on Facebook. Look for it. Okay, this one kind of cracked me up. It's kind of Black Widowy.
Okay, as in death or as in superhero?
Well, regular sex may help older women by cutting their blood pressure, but it might kill their partners. Right? I mean, just when you think you're going to get some good news, then they come and shit all over it. Men aged 57 to 85 who had sex once a week or more were twice as likely to have a heart attack within 5 years than the sexually inactive. And
okay, they keep saying that sex is supposed to be good for you. So what, I mean, did they take into account what else is going on? I mean, if these folks were having sex once a week, are they also skydiving and doing other things? I mean,
they actually think Viagra. And improper monitoring of vitals to use Viagra could be, but the women who engaged in an active sex life actually experienced lower blood pressure. So, and this was done by the Journal of Health and Social Behavior. So this was not a penthouse survey. I mean, this was like kind of a big deal.
It wasn't in Cosmo. Oh, God,
Yeah.
Those things are, or even Men's Health, which is almost as awful as Cosmo when it comes
really
to
has
the.
gotten that way,
when it
hasn't
comes,
it?
I actually, well, I'm curious because a lot of times they mention sex toys, so we've got
yeah.
a subscription, so I can see whether or not what's going through there, and a lot of it's pay for play. I mean, you can
Right,
tell.
right.
I can look at it because I'm like, yeah, there's no reason anyone should be talking about this particular toy, but if there's something that I think is a reason, like this is a good toy. We know it is. And
Right.
we'll say, yeah, as seen it, we'll add a little thing to it, a tag because it's just other stuff to get people to go to your website if you're looking through stuff. What is going on with my voice?
Well, you're okay. I'm going to change the tone here. This just made me laugh. And the only reason why I put it in the outline was because this was conducted in Europe and not the United States in this very tumultuous election season. But basically, they did a study there that said, and this was the countries Sweden, Germany, France, Denmark, and Britain.
Okay.
And they have YouGov is the company that put it together. 19,000 people in this survey, so that's a pretty huge one.
Right.
Okay. Those who consider themselves, according to this survey, as very right-wing are more likely to have a satisfactory sex life.
Okay.
I know. I just had to throw it out there. But listen, 66, that's versus 66% of left-wing Brits and other Europeans. And so very interesting. They showed this, almost 10% divide between the two, which I found amusing, and I threw it on the table because normally, the government that wants in the bedroom is the right wing, and here we go. Thoughts?
No, well, that's because they're probably, satisfied in their lives. The other folks are thinking, well, what else can we do? Education or this or that. They know there's other stuff out there and they're curious about it.
Yeah.
Versus just like, well, okay, we're having sex, so it should be fine.
Yeah. I just thought that was the weirdest headline for, you don't see it very often. Not to turn everything completely dark, but this is interesting. Brock Turner, the swimmer from Stanford who got the preposterously light sentence for sexually assaulting an unconscious woman by a dumpster, he's out of jail.
Right.
Yeah. And, the judge is under recall. He's recused himself from other sexually related cases, which seems perfectly appropriate. And he should just quit as far as I'm concerned. But they're talking, the conversation is now shifting to what the activists are doing. And they are getting out there with social media and doing everything that they can to try to change the hearts and minds of the administrators and everybody who let particularly student athletes get away with this.
No, I mean, I got out this week, and I don't know about you guys' social media feed, but, it was filled with taco trucks and this guy's face.
Yes.
And it was fascinating. And I think that within, 4 or 5 years, this guy's going to be probably getting his name changed when he legally can, because there's no way that, I think folks might actually think about their actions when they realize what's going to happen to them. You can't hide anymore.
No.
You just can't hide.
I think that's a good thing in this case.
And I think that, and the one thing is I look at a lot of the stuff that folks are asking colleges to do things that they're not asking regular justice system to do. So I'm not exactly sure how that works. I was going through there. Yeah, you need to keep, folks separated and all that. And, at this point, they're asking to remove people that have just been accused. So I'm not sure how that works, because generally, until you're convicted, you're considered innocent in this country. Mm-hmm. But the system is so skewed towards people getting away with it. I can see why the pendulum swung that way. Mm-hmm. And so hopefully this will be able to, the term tipping point to some sort of, folks telling their sons don't rape.
Right.
The first thing versus, telling their daughters how not to get raped. That's a conversation that's happening. And I think that if a lot of folks that have egos that might go down assaulting people, men or women, realize that when they get caught, that it's going to truly follow them forever, like it never could in the past.
Right.
It might actually help. I mean, it's, keep folks from being just total assholes because they realize they're going to be, they're going to know. And if they ever have children, their children are going to know. I mean, they are never going to be disassociated from this.
No, they're not.
Ever.
No.
Good point.
Yeah.
And it's sad that you have to say out loud to your kids, don't rape.
Yeah.
That has to be with like, don't steal, don't rob, don't murder, don't rape. Okay. Sad.
Well, sometimes I don't think folks are actually told that.
No.
They just,
It slips through the cracks somewhere. Okay, this is funny, and I want to see if the room agrees.
Okay.
I came across this one in a very unusual source. 2 words that can substantially improve a flailing sex life. Any guess on what they might be?
More lube.
Deeper. Deeper.
This show is like a box of chocolates. I never know what I'm going to get, and that's why I do it. But I'm sorry. Think about that for a second. Mm-hmm. And this article, the link will go up, but this was written on a religious station's blog in California, believe it or not. But there's some actually really interesting things about saying you're sorry for things that you did that hurt them in other life in order to reconnect in an intimate way. And I didn't think it was altogether terrible. I thought there were some good takeaways from it. But I thought, I don't disagree with the idea of I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't pay attention to you. I'm sorry if you thought that I don't do thoughtful things for you as much as you would like.
No, I mean once again back to communication. If you can see what you did to someone that hurt them or because if if someone feels like shit, they're not going to want to have sex with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're just, if you came in and you were really brusque because you had a really shitty day and you didn't pay attention to the fact that the other person may have had a really shitty day, and then later on you're horny and the other person is still stewing over the fact that something something negative happened. Yeah, this does not make for sexy time.
No,
it just doesn't.
No.
You want to go through there. You need to say, "Oh God, I fucked up."
Right.
I'm sorry.
And I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I think this is an awesome note to end the show on. Perry, you're coming back, I take it?
Of course.
Okay. You're locked in now. You're never getting away. This is the Hotel fucking California for you. So, Colleen Bertino, happy end of summer.
Oh my God. I'm looking at my at the calendar and I'm just like, this cannot possibly be September, but it is.
Yeah.
But I'm looking. It was a great summer. I'm looking forward to a great fall
and a great winter. Mm-hmm. We'll be back next week again with the Great Northern Sex Cast. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.